Good morning, everyone. It's Allison here with another garden tour. I'm standing in front of my rainwater collection system today because I wanted to show you something new that we've added, and it just rained a ton last night. So I'm going to show you that, and then we can get started with the garden tour. Today is our last good day of early summer weather. We've been having, since my last video on Memorial Day, we've been having really, really good weather, and today it's supposed to snow tonight and be 34 or 35 degrees. So I'm gonna have a fun time trying to cover up my garden and keep everything alive. But let me show you this rainwater system, and then we'll take a look at the garden. So this is just kind of a new measuring system that we started, or that we created, and essentially there's just all these tick marks on the side of the barrels, and it shows how much water is in the barrels. So we had a big rainstorm last night, and you can see the water is all the way up to there. So we actually drained this whole barrel out yesterday because there was we got a lot of pollen in it and it just got kind of gross. So we decided to drain it and then clean it, and it already filled all the way back up with all of our rainwater. All right, so starting over here in the back, this experimentation, there's a very loud crow right there. I'm learning things. So this pak choi here, this whole row is pak choi. All of that's going to seed. I think the soil, even though we're back here in the shade, the soil is just a little too warm. So that's a good learning thing, that even though this gets more shade, the cool weather stuff like pak choi might go to seed. There's some other volunteers like that, and over there. And over here coming up, I'm just kind of, that's just from the compost, I'm letting it do its thing. The kohlrabi is doing great. And then spinach. I think the spinach is going to be fine. Spinach usually bolts when it gets too cold at the beginning. And then it goes to seed when it gets hot. So hopefully by planting this late and in the shade, it didn't get too cold. Yeah, and then I put some extra beans in the back here with some trellises, just to kind of get rid of some seeds that I was already planning on planting. And then behind the beans, I put some asparagus. We will see if that comes up, just kind of all along the back there. Yeah, bare root asparagus. See if that is able to get established this year. All right. So this has been a little bit of a challenging morning with crows, and I wasn't recording. So anyway, here are my sunflowers, and then this is my squash and melon bed. I'm going to put okra in that one because I put some really old zucchini seeds in there and only got one germinated back there. So my okra seedling is going to go there, and then I'll put the other one somewhere else. All the rest of this is a melon, and then over here is a melon, and then all the rest of this is squash. I have desi squash, lemon squash, and green like striped zucchini. And then back there I put some more asparagus, so we shall see how that works. And then these cabbages I just moved from the front because they were getting a little bit too hot in the front on the concrete, and so I put them back here so they'll get shade a little bit earlier in the day. And then over here we have the peas and raspberries, and they're getting along quite nicely. The peas are making their way up this trellis, and the raspberries are kind of filling down below. Okay, so here's the rest of the garden. I think I showed a little bit of it uncovered at the end of the last video, but a lot has grown since that. So starting with this garlic over here, I'm getting scapes, which is very cool. This garlic is still bigger than the garlic down there, you can see, but they're both doing pretty well, so I'm excited for that. And the tomatoes are doing well. I've started to stake some of them up. Some of them, like this black creme, is not big enough yet, but most of them, like those in the back there, I'm starting to stake up. And I've transplanted all of my peppers. So these are some lemon drop peppers. I'm gonna have to cover them tonight and tomorrow night. Tonight's supposed to be 39 and tomorrow's supposed to be 34. So it's just kind of par for the course in Montana. But I think the ground's really warm, so everything should be fine. And then these ground cherry plants, I have 4 of these, and they are starting to fruit, which is really cool. They're so interesting. There's like nothing in there yet, but they've got lots of fruit on them. So, and then here's another one with some fruit on it. Yeah, fruit all over the ground cherries. All of my mustard and arugula has gone to seed. I've left some of them, and I have kind of chop and dropped some of them, just to kind of give some room for some of this other stuff that's growing in here. This romaine I haven't picked off of it all, but I should definitely start. And then this kale is loving life. Some caterpillars here and there, like you can see that there's caterpillar damage, but I just pick them off, and yeah, it seems to be working pretty well. And then these purple Russian tomatoes are very delicate looking. It's pretty interesting. They just look kind of sadder than other tomatoes. So that's kind of an interesting lesson. My friend who I gave some to says the same thing. So more peppers. Got some pepper blossoms here. These are black Hungarian. And then more ground cherries down here. And this is my volunteer sidewalk sunflower. More mustard going to seed, more ground cherries. These sunflowers are getting to be quite large, and they'll open up pretty soon. And then this leek overwintered and is going to seed, so that's kind of fun. I planted some eggplants. I planted one here and then a couple farther down the bed, you'll see. These have gotten some, I think they're flea beetle damage pretty dang fast, and from everything I've read, that's pretty normal. Flea beetles love eggplant, so I'm not too worried. I've been spraying it a little bit, but I'm just gonna kind of try to stay on top of that. Garlic here, you can see it's not quite as big, but we still have some scapes happening, so that's great. These carrots are doing wonderfully. I thinned some of them out, and they were little baby carrots, so it's working. They're growing. And then I have some cherry tomatoes back here that I've gotten staked, and they are flowering. I'm hoping to see the first fruit set in the next couple days, although they'll probably get slowed down with this cold weather we're about to have. These shishitos, I have 3 shishito peppers here. They have so many blossoms on them. I'm very excited, and you can see that we're starting to get little shishito peppers. That's not the only one. There's one back there. They're kind of everywhere, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. More eggplants here. I put some stakes here because I've read that eggplants might need some support. And I planted a melon here, and then one in the back here behind this eggplant. So that one I'm hoping will kind of trellis up this trellis, and then this one I'll just kind of let trail out here. I've eaten most of my tatsoi and bok choy in this area. This is my last one. It's getting pretty big, which is cool, but I'll probably harvest that probably today. I don't know. I want to put my last eggplant in, but it's going to be cold tomorrow, so we'll see. This lettuce, this is red sales lettuce. I've been still eating off that like crazy. It is pretty heat tolerant, so I'm hoping it'll just kind of stay through the summer, but we'll see. these radishes have gone to seed. More peppers here. Everything looks kind of like beat up from the rain. It rained a ton last night, which we don't usually get, like big rainstorms, but one thing that the rain did do was make this kale fill out. I just used a ton of this kale, and it is back, which is cool. And more tomatoes over here and here. And then you can see the spinach is going to seed. But this New Zealand spinach, this is heat tolerant, and it's coming in well. So that's cool. And then I put a couple more peppers here. There's a lot going on here because everything's kind of in transition. So yeah, it just looks kind of crazy right now. This cilantro is going to seed, which I kind of love because I love the flowers. Yeah. All right. So the last section of the annual garden that's not in pots is this section here. I guess this is some perennial stuff, but this salvia is so big. It's kind of blowing my mind. It's probably 2 feet tall and 2 feet across. So that's cool. It's just starting to flower. We have some blossoms on our Napa Chardonnay tomatoes. Got some sunflowers back there. I'm doing this a little bit later, so the light is not great right now, but these currants have all set fruit, but they're not ripened yet. And then I have another tomato here. Back here, I have some beans that are starting to come up, and I'm kind of just trying to, that one's pretty big. I'm trying to prevent these currants from shading the beans out. This one I actually put some old sunflower stalks to like brace it up away from the trellis so that the beans down here could have some light. So we'll see if that works. But there's some stuff coming up. So yeah, we'll see if we can get beans here or not. And then over here, I planted a bare root rhubarb right here, just waiting for that to come up. And the rhubarb that I do have is great. It seems to be happy. And then these strawberries are still happy. And look at that. Got some green strawberries, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, looking forward to that getting a little bit bigger. Down to our last couple areas, the perennial flowers back here, the Echinacea is getting big, and it's starting to get some flowers, so that's cool. This lemon balm has transplanted nicely. It is doing a little bit of flowering. These chive blossoms are so pretty. I love chive blossoms. And then another bare root rhubarb that is coming to life. Some comfrey coming up. And then I sowed some dill here. So, yeah, if you can see that, there's some dill coming up. And then this mint is finally starting to show signs of life. So I'm glad I didn't give up on that. And then our one potted tomato is doing well. And I let this tomato, most of my cherries I actually let go to 2 stems. So you can see that there's a fork here and there's 2 stems happening. And then I transplanted my last 2 peppers into this pot. And I still have one little eggplant along with my okra seedlings that I need to get into the garden. Alright, so our last area is this herbs area. The basil has just started to wake up along with the nasturtiums, and I've been using this a little bit. This is, I planted holy basil seeds. I've never grown holy basil, so it doesn't smell like basil quite yet, but it kind of was smelling like mint for a while. It's starting to take off. Whatever it is, it's happy. My parsley's happy. I transplanted either a zinnia or a cosmo into that pot. This cilantro is starting to go to seed. I'm hoping that the younger ones will hold out and give me more cilantro. And then this catnip is still surviving, even being, you can see, this is not pest damage, this is just cat damage. So, all right, so that is the garden on Sunday, June 7th, 2020. Like I said, we're gonna get some colder weather tonight and tomorrow night, so I'll have to cover this area up, but things are growing well and they should hopefully recover once it gets warmer, and then we'll be hopefully in the clear on to the summer months. So thanks for checking out my garden with me. I will see you next time.